Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Bannon or Airspeed Prime here. I'm the site super moderator for Avatar The Last Airbender Online.com and also the main host of that site's podcast, the Avatar Online podcast. I'm here today to present to you the second episode commentary for The Legend of Korra. This is going to be obviously a leaf in the wind, and where this commentary is going to start before you set it up is that this one's going to start from the opening title screen, so the white screen that says chapter book 1 air, chapter 2, a leaf in the wind, that white screen. It's not going to have the intro on it, so you move your episode onto that point, and then when I stop speaking here and then speak again, you press play. So I'm going to stop speaking now, and the next time I speak will be when you should press play, and my commentary will start and you'll be all synced up. Okay, so here we are with the episode commentary for A Leaf in the Wind, K102, episode 2 of Korra. Obviously this episode's aired at the same time as episode 1, and is very much the fellow introductory episode. We see Tano there on the back of the paper for the wolf bats, and we straight away see Korra interested in the new stuff. She doesn't really care that much about tradition, while Tenzin, as an airbender, cares so much about tradition because he and his family pretty much maintain the whole airbender tradition. It's them, just them. They kind of can't really adapt to modern, or they'll kind of lose the airbender the whole airbender tradition. And we see that Tenzin being that way and how he teaches Korra is really going to affect their kind of relationship in this episode and how Korra learns airbending. And we see the extent of Korra's troubles with airbending. When she was 4 years old, she could bend water, earth, and firebending pretty well, but she didn't do any airbending. And we see that has extended on. She hasn't, in her whole 17 years, ever bended airbending at all. Nor has she gone into the avatar state connected with the spirits. And those two things are very much collected. And we see that, as was kind of theorized from Avatar The Last Airbender, the element that an avatar will trouble with is it's not to do with the nation they originally come from. So like an airbender will naturally have trouble with Earth. No, it's about personality, we find out here. Korra doesn't have trouble with firebending, which you would assume would be the one that she would have trouble with, being from the water tribe. But no, it's airbending that she's has troubles with, because her personality is more like a firebending. She's driven, determined, kind of slightly aggressive, which is the opposite of the airbending philosophy. And this lovely scene here of the leaf blowing through the gates, you can sense the kind of air current just sending it through. And look at the contrast between how Jinora does this. She's quick, but not overly kind of quick running through it. She's quick on her feet, just kind of gradually getting through it. And we see she's a good airbender too, in that she sets the gate going again. And then Korra just... the interesting thing was she didn't even run into a gap there at the first one. She just runs straight into the first gate she sees. That kind of tells you the whole story. This aggression as opposed to just flow, she's not thinking about the gates kind of turning and going through it like be the leaf. She's not being the leaf, as Milo suggested. And she comes out battered and bruised. And Tenzin realizes that this is going to be the hardest time ever training this girl. Korra does not like Lin Beifong. I wonder why. And it's interesting to see kind of how far those two come, seeing where the final scene pretty much of the show is Korra and Lin kind of respectful towards each other. It's very nicely done. And she takes a break from this kind of not learning bending to go listen to pro bending, this new style that she's very interested in. We see here that she's listening to Mako fighting, and she instantly gets behind this team, the Fire Ferrets, and Mako as their captain, and she knows they're good pro benders. And then we see that the other White Lotus guards are also interested in pro bending, and they're like, it's a big contrast between where they were in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and here you just see like they're not even doing their jobs, just listen to the radio. And then Tenzin just not liking pro bending at all because it's not traditional. It's very interesting to see that, and it's going to be the conflict like of this episode, and very much of kind of part of the series is that like this tradition versus modernization. Like, should Korra just go down the traditional route as the Avatar and learning all these elements, or should she bring in new styles and so on? And it's interesting to see Iki, who's the biggest chatterbox ever. She can be calm and peaceful, meditating. Janora, who's like a big bookworm, can put down a book for a second to be peaceful. Milo, who's a bit hyper, can sleep in meditation, I guess, which is the same kind of concept. And then Korra just can't stay still; she has to be doing something. And we see that Korra's really, really affected by this. Tenzin just says one day it'll just click, and ultimately that's what happens in like the final episode. That's what happens. But for Korra to have this issue of not being able to instantly get this physical bending is really affecting her, because she had no issue at all with learning the first three elements. As we saw, 4 years old, she pretty much had them mastered then, and she's just not at all getting this. That is a new thing for her to happen, that she just doesn't get it at all. That's very interesting. And so she swims off to see for herself this pro bending. Lovely shot of the pro bending arena here, and coming up, it's just this glowing beacon on the edge of the city. It's glorious, and it really makes you think I want an art book for Legend of Korra so badly. Just to see all the coronation images in a book, even more concept art and stuff like that. Really nice piece of bending there to get into the arena and dry yourself off. Nicely done. And here coming up we have the introduction of Toza, who we really don't get to know that much, and also Bolin, who we do get to know a bit. Just her fascinated by all these this training room, this gym with all this pro bending equipment. And then Bolin just walks by, sees a girl, and is just like, stop. Oh, I'll help this girl out and she will go out with me or something like that. You can tell that's what's going through his mind, and it's very interesting. And I like how Korra just instantly catches on to this, We see she hasn't really had much interaction with people around her age, but she is easily interacting with Bolin here, so it's very interesting. It's like, oh, you implied it. Very interesting. And we see, look, how easily those two get on. Bolin and Korra, instant friends. And again, like episode 1, we also see the pro bending arena for the first time, as Korra sees it for the first time. It's a great kind of way of doing things. And then the difference between the two brothers, Bolin very much the more upbeat one, more happy one, compared to Mako, who's more serious and uptight, I guess. And then Korra tries to be really nice to Mako because she's heard about him on the radio, but no, he just kind of dismisses her as another one of these fangirls. It's very interesting. And we see the kind of brother relationship there. He just knows that's what his brother's like. It's not that he's trying to be rude on purpose. It's interesting. And then the whole atmosphere of the pro bending arena, we have the kind of ring announcer there. You have Shiro Shinobi as the commentator. The crowd interaction and screams. Even just the shots, the way the shots are done, it just makes it such a sporting event. Makes pro bending so good. And Shiro Shinobi, pretty much for me, is half of what pro bending is. Without Shiro Shinobi, I don't think pro bending will be anywhere near as exciting as it is. Just his commentary and how enthusiastic he is about it is just incredible. Cool on the fire style. And then you see the how like hard these shots are, like how big impacts when they get hit by that. Like Mako just gets nailed there in the stomach and it sends flying back. So like while it's not the big creative like amazing boat bending moves like Avatar: The Last Airbender and like outside of the arena fights, they're still nicely done because they're in a contained arena. They have to be quick. Like they can't go for these massive moves where they like require big build up. It's like Fabulous Bending Brothers. They have their own kind of like nickname. That's kind of how known they are. And even just how Pro Bending explains its rules to us, they don't fully state it, but they really go to show like they've pushed the Firefarts further back, so they've won that round. You only get knocked out if all three players get knocked out. They're explaining the rules without just blatantly explaining them through exposition. It's really nicely done. And then these slow motion shots here as the kind of Firefarts make their comeback in round 2 is nicely done too. Showing the impact of the shots. The intensity of Mako as the captain of the Firefarts. And then Hasuk makes his big error. Boom! Right on top of Bolin. There's the kind of unrealistic thing about Pro Bending, probably. How far the two of them got sent back there by one shot. It's like, wow. But we see the cleverness and how good of a bender Mako is here. And even how into this Korra is. Mako just dodging everything, and just comes back with amazing like firebending here. Just boom, 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 and he like has them out of the arena. It's a really good hat trick knockout, and it shows why he is the captain. Like in the first Pro Bending fight that we see. And even how the show just makes you feel like, yes, for these Firefarts who we just met, you really are rooting for this team. And Korra not only impressed with Mako there, but impressed with Pro Bending as a whole. Very interested in this. And just like that reaction from her, like her kind of really physical style of everything, like she's just like showing emotion by like picking up Bolin, going like, what did I think? It was amazing. Shaking him. Again, trying to be like nice to Mako, but he dismisses her again. And Korra is the one to realize that she's a powerful bender. She knows her bending, but realizes that there's something to be learned from this new pro bending style. That's compared to Tenzin, who's like a master airbender, and he doesn't see anything in the style. It shows a kind of more open-mindedness of Korra here. And then Korra just takes so much joy in like slowly revealing that she's the avatar to Bolin. It's just like you get the sense that she doesn't get to do this very often to people. The kind of surprise reveal that she's the avatar, and she just does it so well here. It's like, no, I can earthbend. Wait, but you're wearing water type gear. And I can bend that, and that, and that. And their reaction is just great. Mako realizes, oh, I've been rude to the avatar, and Bolin's like, it's like, I was talking like this to the avatar the whole time without knowing who she was. Wow. And then we get the contrast between the two kind of training sessions here, and how interested Korra is in the more kind of like direct training of kind of Bolin here, in that they're using earthbending straight away. There's not meditation, like this kind of spirituality, mentality thing to it. It's just her using earthbending, learning a stance, adapting to the style, and not bad is about the best she's going to get from Mako today. Nicely done. And even how formal he is to Korra, Avatar Korra. Now we don't quite get it here, but we find out that they are orphans, and Toza gave them this place to live as long as they do odd jobs for him. It's just little hints at their backstory, even that on their kind of vests there, they had like little cuts on it that were kind of sewn up. It's show they didn't have much money and stuff like that. And again, Korra, Tenzin correct, she's not having any patience. She just has to slow down a bit, flow, be calm. But no, she just burns up, gets aggressive, angry, and burns down the historical treasure. And for like an airbender steeped in tradition, for this to happen to this ancient contraption is just it kind of gets tense and angry. And this is a combination of her not being used to not getting bending straight away, and how easily she kind of got the pro bending style that, as we just saw, compared to the trouble she's having with airbending. And you can understand why she is so angry. And then Tenzin just kind of not seeing this at all, that he may need to adapt the style of teaching to her. And we see Pema again. Yay. I like that he's really concerned. Like, the kids are already a handful as it is. He's like, wait, if they all grow up to be like Korra, no! It's just a nice moment when you can tell exactly what's going through Tenzin's mind. And we see that Hasuk hasn't shown up. And you can kind of understand it from Hasuk's point of view. He doesn't want Mako blaming him for everything. And you can see why they're so upset that like these winnings are a big deal for them who don't have much money. It's them, they're kind of shot at kind of advancing their life, I guess. And Korra thinks, she's a good bender and she thinks she can just adapt into the team very easily. Mako doesn't. Mako's not interested, but Bowen is. But Mako has to go along with it as she's the only waterbender there that can help them. And this is the big scene where we really get explained the rules through Korra not knowing them. It's very well done. And we see that also hindering her is that the gear doesn't fit her properly. And like you can kind of understand that. Oh, the aim is just to knock the opponents out of the arena from what Korra has seen in one match. She doesn't know that you have to only knock them backwards out of the ring. You can't knock them over the side. And you see, you get penalties for doing these things. Go back a zone. And you can't go forward either, or you get a foul. And we see Korra getting angry, and we see that is part of her personality, that she just get aggressive, she gets pretty competitive, stuff like that. And we see that Korra has the technical side of bending now, she just doesn't have the kind of the match kind of tactical side of pro bending and how to work in this team down. I love that kind of reaction, like, oh, she just bended two elements. I think foul, maybe. And this is perfect. They set up that the other White Lotus guards like to watch the pro bending matches. And they hear this announcement that the Avatar, Tenzin just asks where's the Avatar, and he overhears the announcement that the Avatar's at the pro bending match. It's just really well constructed, the episode. Well written. And Korra's just really struggling because they're all focusing on her because she's a new player. And she gets knocked out of the second round. And is confronted by Tenzin. And we get the big confrontation of the episode between them. It's kind of being set up since the very start of the episode that they really had to have this talk. And this is a big thing here of what Korra says. She thinks that she doesn't even need it because she doesn't get it. And she thinks she just needs to learn the modern styles of fighting. When in reality, it's just a compromise between the two. She needs to learn airbending through modern kind of teaching methods. And that's what Tenzin's going to see. That's what Korra's going to realize here as well. They're both going to realize that they were both at the same time right and wrong. And some amazing kind of defense from Mako and Bolin in that they managed to stay in the match. And then Tenzin just kind of sticks around to see how the match turns out. And she thinks that, oh, she's failing really badly. But here, the music comes on. A really great scene here. She has the airbending kind of Bagua dodging form. And she's just kind of all of a sudden getting this kind of be like the leaf. Change direction quickly, spiral movements. And Tenzin realizes straight away that she got this through one pro bending match that she was failing in, and she didn't learn anything from the previous training. So that's what's helping her, not the kind of being overly traditional stuff. And it's just really well written, really well done from all the characters in this episode. As the Fire Ferrets get the knockout all together as the team, including Korra. And then Tenzin, not refined there, just woohoo, double point. Shows that he definitely, deep down, does like a bit of pro bending. And Mako realizes that there is more to her. She is a natural. And Korra, realizes that that wouldn't happen if not for some of Tenzin's teachings. And Avatar does these so well, where they both apologize to each other here. Sincerely, it's really well done. Frustrated with herself, she was taking it out on him. They both realized they were wrong, and they both learned something from this experience. And this just shows you how well Korra captured what Avatar The Lost Airbender did. It was the characters. As much as you may dislike it being 70 years on, all the changes, the characters, the storytelling, that is done the exact kind of same way, the exact style of Avatar. And she just leaves him with, yep, I've kind of joined the Fire Ferrets permanently. And this is so blatantly setting up Makora. Mako staring over at Air Temple Island, her staring back at the pro bending arena, kind of both thinking about each other. It's just okay, Makora. And that has been the episode commentary for episode 2. They're very much the introductory episode, so there's not perhaps the most kind of in-depth analysis to do on them beyond kind of just talking about what's happening. But I think especially the next episode is a really good episode, and hopefully there'll be more to say going forward. So thank you for listening to this episode commentary, and come back and listen to the rest of them when they come out.